there is a good news from Australian Department of Home Affairs. They extended a grace period time for 457 subclass, 482 subclass, and 494 subclass. It's very good news, which I will tell you. The grace period, normally these work permit holders are given by Australian Department of Home Affairs 60 consecutive days, mean that when their work permit is over or their contract is over and their time of visa is over, they were giving 60 days to arrange next job, and finally they had to come back to home country if they would not be able to arrange the job. But now currently Australian Department of Home Affairs, this grace period extended from the 60 days to the 180 days. This is great news. We can understand how much this is good news for those individuals whose contracts are over and they are working in Australia and they are searching jobs. 180 days mean almost 3 times more earlier time. Now they can stay 180 days and they can search their next job. And another good thing is that they can do job in other companies as well. They can change the profession as well. For example, they were working in a healthcare profession and they got some managerial jobs. They can do managerial jobs as well. There is no any compulsion that you have to continue your primary work permit job. So this is another compensation. Normally individuals who are MBA, BBA, they goes to one job, but when they entered Australia, the job requirements are very tough for that job, and it's very difficult. So therefore they are bound to do job in specific profession because they were immigrated by that profession. But now currently Australian Department of Home Affairs showed relaxation that if you are in Australia and you are not getting job and your visa is going to be expired, the grace period we are giving you, and this grace period is 180 days. You can change the job, you can leave one company, even you can search any other company, and you can change your profession. This was main problem of the professional people because they are not much expert in immigration. Most of the migrants, international migrants, they do apply their files by themselves because consultants are charging a lot of money, and fake consultants are more in the numbers in the market, especially Asian market, immigration market. So they are misguiding the people. Therefore people think this is internet era, and I also favor that if you can process your application yourself, if you are educated, you must do. But these people have no much experience that which occupation is good, and now when they select occupation and that occupation was highly demanded in Australia, but when they reach Australia, especially in those in which they were not nominated by companies, nominated when any company nominated skilled sponsored migration, there is no problem because company is giving you offer, company is sponsoring, company will check your documents. That's good, that is a 494 visa. But in case of temporary skilled visa like 457 or short skilled visa, work visa like 482, these individuals, when they reach Australia, they select one occupation, that this is the occupation in which we work. And when they reach Australia, they got idea that in this profession we may not get the job, and they just walking from one interview to other interview, from one companies to the other companies, but those companies do not give them jobs, and they became a little bit jobless for a long time. So this is the best decision. And other factor is that when job contract is over, Australian workers are severely required in Australia. Now companies are claiming to immigration department your cuts of migration, especially skilled migration, affecting Australian economy. Already housing crisis department, housing construction companies, and the different other companies already claimed that you are cutting migrations, and they are not still in favor of cutting students because they think that capping on student visas will also reducing their market labors. According to some companies, these are the students who work with good hard work with enthusiasm and motivation, because their primary destination is to stay permanently in Australia. Therefore, to get their destination, to get their target, they use full energy and use of blood in the world, and we mean Australian companies gets benefit economically. And according to research, Australian citizen is not much hard worker, and migrant is more hard worker. This is also a very straightforward conversation. If you will compare Australian citizen, is the Australian citizen now, he is not bound to work. If he will not work, he will be paid by Australian government social security benefits, the healthcare, and he knew that I am national, I have passport, and nobody will say to me to leave Australia. And in case of migrants, they had one dimension, that we have to stay more, first of all, more in Australia, and we need to get PR or permanently settled in Australia. They will try, and all people will not successful in this effort of becoming a resident of Australia, a passport holder of Australia, or even if they think that they will not be able to get permanent residence, they will try to stay long as much as possible, because Australian dollars salary in Australia is quite high, although it's expensive in Australia, but as compared to their own countries where currency rupee or something else, that's much lower. So therefore, when they send their money to their families back in the home, that becomes huge money. Therefore, they're not going to leave Australia. They work very hard. They think that over laborious work here will reward more than their home countries. And I think migration must continue, but migration must be transparent. The people who are not required and who are not required in any country must be stopped. But stopping immigration in full will not be the solution of the problem. I think Australian Immigration Minister Mark Miller and Australian Department of Home Affairs really knows that some rules which they have changed currently regarding student visas and regarding the migration skills were not up to the mark, and there were a lot of criticism. Even increasing the fee of the students about $1600, it's really pricking to reduce the international students in Australia. Australia, remember, is the main market of international education, and these skilled workers, they are working very hard, especially 494. They are sponsored workers, mean that companies wrote in their letter that these people we found in Australia did not find, and such workers were not available in Australia. We were compelled to invite such overseas top professionals. Therefore, if you are inviting overseas professionals to Australia by searching and by interviewing, by watching documents, I think they have complete right to stay as long as possible, because they are raising economy of Australia. Thank you very much.